Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin. In the quiet fabric of the universe, there are rivers of light that turn slowly, like dancers who never grow tired. These are the spiral galaxies, their arms unfurling across millions of light years, sweeping through the silence of space with a grace both delicate and immense. When we gaze at them through telescopes, we see patterns of swirls, glowing bands that twist like shells of sea snails, or the whirl of cream stirred gently into coffee. Yet behind that beauty lies the mystery of birth. How does such a grand form emerge from the emptiness, from clouds that at first are formless, drifting and dark? To imagine the birth of a galaxy, one must first sink into the earliest breaths of the cosmos. Long before spirals were drawn into the heavens, there was only a sea of hydrogen and helium, spreading outward after the first fire of the Big Bang. This sea was not uniform. Tiny ripples, like wrinkles in a still pond after a leaf has fallen, marked places where matter would gather. Gravity, soft yet insistent, pulled on these places. Over millions of years the wrinkles deepened, clouds of gas thickened, and in time the faint whisper of structure began to emerge, almost as if the universe were humming a tune to itself. Imagine drifting through this time when stars had yet to ignite. The universe was dim, filled with unseen currents of invisible matter. The dark matter that does not shine yet shapes everything around it. It was this hidden framework, a quiet skeleton that cradled the future galaxies. Without it, the gas would have spread too thin, never collapsing into the glowing islands of starlight we see today. It is almost as though the dark matter played the role of soil, unseen beneath the roots, yet essential for the tree to grow. As these ancient clouds gathered, the first sparks of light began to flicker. The very first stars, massive and short-lived, blazed into existence. Their light cut through the fog of hydrogen that had filled the young universe. These stars lived only briefly, like candles burning too quickly, but in their fiery deaths they scattered heavy elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, the seeds that future stars and planets would need. Galaxies, then, were not born in a single moment. They grew in stages, nurtured by generations of stars that came and went, each leaving behind gifts for the next. Now picture the spiral itself. How does such a shape come to be? A galaxy begins often as a rough cloud, chaotic and uneven. Stars form in clumps, drifting without clear pattern. But as billions of stars gather, their gravity settles into balance. Over eons, the system flattens into a disk, spinning slowly like a coin that refuses to fall. Within this spinning disk, waves of density ripple outward. These waves, like traffic jams on a cosmic highway, cause stars and gas to bunch together in graceful arcs. To our eyes, these arcs become the arms of the spiral, winding outward with a calm persistence. The arms are not rigid things, they are patterns, regions where stars are born and drift away, only for new ones to form behind them. A spiral galaxy, then, is always alive, always changing, yet always carrying the appearance of eternal motion. If you close your eyes, you can almost hear it. The soft hum of gravity drawing stars together, the faint whisper of hydrogen clouds collapsing into suns, the gentle curve of arms tracing their way through the blackness. These spirals are not rushing. They drift, they turn, they stretch their arms wide as though embracing the cosmos. And we, on our small blue planet within one such spiral, are cradled in that gentle motion, carried along without even noticing. The Milky Way itself, our home, is a grand spiral. It has been turning for billions of years, its arms stretched out across 100,000 light years. Within its span lie billions upon billions of stars, each one with its own story, its own orbit, its own rhythm. We live tucked inside one of its quieter arms, like a cottage hidden among vast rolling hills. From here, when the sky is dark and clear, we can glimpse the river of light that is our galaxy's plain, a band stretching overhead like spilled silver dust. Few sights remind us so deeply of the scale we belong to, of the vast body we are part of, drifting with countless companions. Yet even as we marvel, we know that galaxies are not still. They collide, they merge, they reshape themselves over time. The spirals we admire are not fixed paintings, but fleeting patterns in a cosmic dance. When two galaxies meet, their stars may pass one another without collision, for the distances between them are vast. Yet their gravities entwine, pulling arms into strange bridges, flinging streams of stars into the dark. Sometimes new spirals are born from the union, more luminous than before. Other times the result is an elliptical galaxy, a softer, rounder glow without the winding arms that once defined it. To watch galaxies is to watch time itself sculpt on scales too immense for human memory. Think of it as a great forest of the night sky. Some galaxies stand as young saplings, small and irregular, just beginning to grow. Others are like ancient oaks, their spirals well formed, their arms vast and strong. And some, older still, have grown tired of their motion, settling into rounder forms, the spirals fading as stars grow older, slower, dimmer. The forest changes, but the cycle continues. New galaxies still form in the distant reaches, where clouds of gas and dark matter weave fresh beginnings. To drift deeper into this thought is to feel the quiet patience of the cosmos. Galaxies do not hurry. They take billions of years to unfurl their arms, to settle into their forms. They remind us of the long breath of time, the way the universe whispers not in seconds but in ages. And yet, despite their scale, they begin with something so small, a ripple, a gathering, a soft imbalance in the fabric of the early cosmos. From that seed, spirals grow. From that seed, the universe blooms with patterns that echo seashells, hurricanes, even the swirl of cream in a morning cup. The same shapes repeat across scales, from the smallest world to the grandest galaxy. Perhaps that is the deepest wonder, that we, fragile and fleeting, can look upward and see the arms of galaxies stretching across the dark, and in them recognize something familiar. Spirals that echo forms we know, patterns that feel like home. In their slow turning, we sense the same rhythm that guides rivers, winds, and even our own heartbeat. To watch the spiral arms is to listen to the cosmos breathe. The spiral arms of galaxies are like vast rivers of light, but they are also nurseries of creation. Within them, stars are born in clouds so immense that they dwarf even our imaginations. Picture a nebula, a soft bloom of gas and dust stretched across dozens of light years. In these places, gravity gathers whispers into weight, drawing particles together until pressure and heat spark the birth of a new sun. It is within the arms of the galaxy that these births occur most often, as if the spirals themselves were hands cradling the tender flame of new light. When we look upon the glowing knots of blue stars within those arms, we are seeing the galaxies still at work, weaving themselves anew with every breath of time. The Milky Way too carries such nurseries. In the Orion Arm, where our own sun drifts quietly, there are clouds like Orion's nebula, glowing faintly in the dark. If we could drift through one, it would feel like sailing through a soft fog of starlight, a fog that carries within it the seeds of futures. Stars grow there, planets begin their journeys, and perhaps life itself will one day rise from those hidden sparks. It is in these arms that the galaxy tells its story, not through ancient light alone, but through beginnings that echo endlessly forward. But spirals are not only places of birth, they are also paths of memory. The stars within them drift over millions of years, carrying their histories like notes in a long, slow song. Some stars shine bright and fade quickly, their brief lives scattering heavier elements into the arms around them. Others, like our sun, endure for billions of years, moving gently through the galactic currents. And older still are the stars that wander beyond the arms, quiet elders of the galaxy, their light faint but steady, their presence a reminder of what has been. As one contemplates these spirals, a sense of wisdom emerges. Stars are born, live and die, and from their ashes, new stars emerge. The galaxy does not stop. It breathes through this cycle, each generation enriching the next. In this way, galaxies are not static monuments, but living systems, pulsing with change, with death and rebirth. To drift deeper into this thought is to see how the same rhythm beats within us. Our own bodies carry the carbon and oxygen that once flared in the heart of a dying star. We are children of spiral arms, shaped from their quiet gifts, carrying their memory in every breath we take. Now imagine the grand scale of these motions. A single turn of the Milky Way's spiral arms takes hundreds of millions of years. Long before the first humans walked the Earth, long before even the dinosaurs, our solar system was already moving through this slow turn. We orbit the galactic centre as Earth orbits the Sun, but our orbit is so vast that we cannot sense it. We ride upon the current of the spiral without ever feeling its pull. Yet it is there, carrying us steadily, patiently, as if we were grains of sand moving with the tide. This immense motion weaves together galaxies across space. They are not alone, but often bound to one another in clusters, groups that drift together. Our Milky Way belongs to the local group, a family of galaxies bound by their shared gravity. Within this group, the Andromeda Galaxy is our great neighbour, a spiral as grand as our own. It drifts toward us slowly, and in billions of years the two will merge, arms intertwining, stars crossing paths, their shapes transformed into something new. The spirals we know today will fade, replaced by another form, a reminder that even galaxies live through cycles of change, loss, and rebirth. Consider the faint light of distant spirals seen through telescopes. Each one is not merely an island of stars, but a living history, a memory of the universe itself. Some are young, still chaotic, their spirals not yet clearly drawn. Others are mature, their arms stretched wide, glowing with the light of countless suns. Still others are weary, their spirals fading, their light dimming as new starbirth slows. To look at them is to see a timeline of the cosmos, all stages alive at once scattered across the night. Yet galaxies are more than their visible stars. They carry hidden currents, dark matter and energy that shape their forms. We cannot see this matter, but we feel its presence in the way galaxies spin. Without it, the spirals would not hold together. They would fling apart, their arms unravelling into the void. It is as though an unseen hand cradles them, keeping their patterns intact, allowing their beauty to endure. Scientists still do not know the true nature of this hidden substance, but its role is undeniable. Galaxies abound, not only by the light we see, but by mysteries we cannot yet name. This duality of the visible and the hidden makes galaxies feel like poems written in two languages. One is the language of stars, glowing brightly, easy to read with the eyes. The other is the language of shadows, of unseen matter and energy, whispered in equations and inferred through motion. Together they form the whole, a balance of what can be touched and what must only be imagined. To drift among galaxies is to learn to read both languages, to sense both the light and the silence beneath it. The arms themselves are like spiraling pathways into these mysteries. Each one leads us to questions of origin, of purpose, of fate. Why do they form so gracefully? How do they endure? Some scientists suggest the spiral arms are density waves, patterns that move through the disk, gathering stars as they pass. Others wonder if interactions with smaller galaxies help to sculpt them, tugging at their edges, reshaping their form. And some mysteries remain, waiting still for answers, carried in the turn of the spirals themselves. Yet perhaps the truest wonder is not in the answers, but in the way galaxies remind us of connection. The same spirals we see overhead are echoed in seashells, in whirlpools, in the twist of a fern's frond. Nature repeats these shapes across scales, as though it delights in their elegance. To find a spiral in the sky is to find a reflection of our world, to sense that the vast and the small are bound by the same patterns. In the arms of galaxies, we see both the immensity of the cosmos and the intimacy of the shapes that guide our daily lives. And so when we gaze at the Milky Way, when we think of the spirals of Andromeda, or the countless galaxies beyond, we are not only seeing distant light, we are also seeing ourselves, our origins, our kinship with the stars. We are seeing the quiet truth that we are part of something immense, something slow and patient, something that has been turning since long before we existed and will continue long after we are gone. The spiral arms whisper this truth over and over, with every slow turn they take across the silence of the cosmos. The spirals of galaxies invite us not only to think of creation, but also of destiny. Every curve, every turn of their arms is a movement across time, carrying both beginnings and endings. A galaxy is not fixed in its shape, nor is it eternal in its present form. Like all living patterns of the universe, it changes. The stars within it age, their light softening, their lifetimes measured in billions of years. Some end in quiet dimness, shrinking into white dwarfs. Others end in fire, scattering their elements through space. The galaxy absorbs these endings, folds them into its arms, and from them creates anew. There is no final stillness, only a slow river that carries everything forward. Imagine drifting closer to the core of a spiral galaxy. There, the light grows dense, billions of stars pressed together, so many that their glow merges into a soft golden haze. At the very heart lies a black hole, vast and silent, a presence that anchors the galaxy's motion. The black hole does not simply devour, it holds. It draws stars into their paths, keeps the arms steady as they turn. When matter drifts too close, it falls inward, heating, glowing, sometimes flaring outward in jets of light that travel across millions of light years. This paradox of darkness that gives form, of emptiness that steadies the whole, is part of the quiet poetry of galaxies. They are shaped not only by the visible, but by what lies unseen, hidden in the heart of their spirals. Around these centres, the stars move in orbits that seem eternal. Our Sun, too, is part of this great dance, circling the heart of the Milky Way every 200 million years. In all of Earth's history, we've only made a few turns around the galaxy's core. When the first forests grew, we were in one part of the spiral. When dinosaurs roamed, we had drifted further. Now, in our time, the Earth rests in a different place altogether, yet always carried by the spiral's gentle current. Our history is woven into this orbit, part of a larger cycle that unfolds in silence, unnoticed in the span of our days. And yet the spirals are not everlasting. Over time, as galaxies collide, their arms are reshaped. The Milky Way itself waits for its meeting with Andromeda, a slow approach that will take billions of years. When they meet, their spirals will tear and merge, creating streams of stars flung outward like ribbons in a storm. New stars will form in the chaos, bright and hot, while older stars drift into new orbits. From this collision, the galaxies may settle into a rounder form, their spirals gone, their light still glowing but in softer patterns. The arms we see now are fleeting, a phase in a story that stretches beyond imagination. To think of this is to feel a mixture of wonder and humility. The spirals that seem eternal to us are only moments in cosmic time. Yet in their moments, they create beauty beyond words. They are gardens where stars are born, paths where worlds are formed, rivers of light that carry memory across the universe. They are not permanent, but their impermanence does not diminish them. Rather, it deepens the sense of connection, reminding us that change is the way of all things, from the smallest leaf unfurling in spring to the largest galaxy drifting in the night. Even now, as telescopes peer deeper into space, we see galaxies at different stages of their lives. Some newly formed are irregular, chaotic, like sketches waiting to be completed. Others, in full maturity, display spirals so perfect they seem drawn by hand. And still others, aged, are round and quiet, their arms dissolved into a soft halo of stars. To see them all at once is like reading a library of time, each galaxy a page, each spiral a sentence, each star a word in the poem of the cosmos. Together they tell us that the universe is not one story but countless stories, all unfolding, all turning with their own rhythms. And within those stories we find echoes of our own. The spiral arms, with their cycles of birth and death, mirror the cycles of our lives. We too are born from the elements of stars, live for a time, and then return our atoms to the world where they may one day form new lives. Our stories are smaller, but they carry the same pattern, the same rhythm of renewal. To gaze at a galaxy is to see that pattern writ large, to feel that our lives are not separate but part of a vast and shared unfolding. Now let us imagine standing beneath a truly dark sky, far from cities, where the Milky Way stretches overhead. Its band glows with countless stars, too many to count, too many to name. In that light, one can feel both small and infinite at once. Small because we are only one life among countless billions, and infinite because we are made of the same light, the same elements, the same story. The arms of the galaxy cradle us, and in their slow turning we are carried forward, whether we notice or not. It is a lullaby older than Earth itself, lullaby we can still hear if we pause long enough to listen. The whisper of spiral arms is not loud. It does not shout or command. It is a gentle voice, a soft reminder. It says, "You belong to this turning. You are part of this vast, patient rhythm. Your breath carries the memory of stars. Your heart beats in time with the quiet pulse of galaxies. Even in the stillness of night, when you feel alone, the spirals are around you, holding you in their endless embrace." And so the story closes, not with an ending, but with a return. The spirals turn, stars are born, stars fade, galaxies meet, galaxies change. The universe continues, patient and unhurried. And within it, we drift. Small but luminous, carried on the arms of light, forever part of the great quiet dance of the cosmos. In the vast ocean of night, where the black canvas of space stretches beyond sight, starlight appears like threads of silver gently woven through the dark. To the eye, a star may seem small, just a pinprick of brightness in a quiet sky. Yet behind that point of light is a furnace so immense, so powerful that its glow travels across millions of years to touch us. Starlight is not only illumination, it is story, it is history, it is memory carried across the cosmos. Each beam is a stitch in the fabric of the universe, binding together the silence of space with the warmth of light. When we imagine the darkness between galaxies, we might think of emptiness. But darkness is not absence, it is a backdrop, a canvas waiting to be painted with light. In the beginning, before the first stars were born, the cosmos was filled with hydrogen and helium, quiet gases stretching endlessly. Then slowly, gravity began to gather them into clouds. Within those clouds, pressure rose, heat built, and the first sparks ignited. The universe lit its first lamps. Darkness, once endless, began to shimmer with points of fire. These were the first stitches, the first bright seams sewn into the black, transforming the void into a tapestry of radiance. Each star, once born, takes on the task of weaving. Their light travels outward in all directions, filling the spaces between. A single ray may cross billions of miles before it finds an eye, or a planet, or another cloud of dust to scatter through. In its journey, the light becomes more than a glow, it becomes information. Within its colours are hidden truths about the star's heat, its age, its composition. Scientists call this spectrum, the rainbow of light unravelled through prisms or instruments. From these rainbows we can read the secret language of stars, learning not only what they are made of, but how they live and how they die. Each photon is a messenger, each beam of light a story told across unimaginable distances, and the stories are countless. Blue stars burn hot and fast, like brilliant singers whose voices fade too soon. Red stars are cooler, quieter, their light softer, their lives longer. Some stars swell to giants, their light spreading wide but gentle, while others burn steadily for billions of years, patient, and enduring. All of them sew their own patterns into the fabric of the sky, adding stitches to the cosmic cloth, and when they die, their endings are as luminous as their lives. Some collapse gently, leaving behind dim embers that still glow. Others explode in supernovas, scattering elements into the dark and lighting up the cosmos with brilliance far beyond their lifetimes. In death, they add new threads, brighter still, sewing not only light but matter into the fabric of the future. Consider our own sun. Its light is ordinary among stars, steady, yellow, and constant. Yet it is extraordinary for it has been stitching warmth into our world for billions of years. Every leaf that turns toward its glow, every drop of water warmed upon the earth, every breath we take is part of this ongoing weaving. Without its light, the earth would be a frozen stone drifting in the dark. With it, the planet blooms. The sun's light carries energy that feeds plants, builds forests, fuels winds, stirs oceans. Life is a tapestry woven directly from starlight, each thread a gift that makes the world alive. To look upon sunlight is to look upon the handiwork of a star sewing meaning into the silence. Beyond the sun, countless stars do the same for their own systems. Around them, planets orbit, warmed and shaped by their parents' glow. Some may be barren, others icy, but perhaps somewhere light has sown the same miracle of life it has here. We may never know all the places where starlight has nurtured existence, but the possibility drifts with every ray that travels outward. Light is not only energy, it is invitation, reaching into the dark, saying here, in this warmth, something might awaken. In this way, starlight is not only a thread in the cosmos, but a thread of hope stretching endlessly. When we gaze through telescopes, the sky deepens. What seemed like empty black reveals more stars, then galaxies, then clusters upon clusters. Each one adds its own glow, sewing patch upon patch into the infinite fabric. The Hubble Space Telescope once turned its eye to what seemed like the darkest part of the sky, a place where nothing could be seen. Yet when its long gaze was complete, the darkness bloomed into thousands of galaxies, each filled with billions of stars. The black canvas was not empty at all. It was simply waiting for us to see the stitches that had always been there, delicate, patient, uncountable. Light also carries memory of beginnings. When we look at a star 100 light years away, we see it not as it is now, but as it was 100 years ago. The further we gaze, the older the light becomes. Some of the light that reaches us tonight has travelled for billions of years, older than Earth itself. To look at it is to look into history, to see the universe as it was before we existed, before our sun was born, before our galaxy had fully formed. Light is time stretched across distance. It sews past to present, allowing us to glimpse not only where we are, but where we come from. And light also shapes the dark in more subtle ways. Dust clouds scatter it, bending its path, painting the sky with faint hues and halos. Gravitational fields curve it, bending beams around massive bodies, a phenomenon called lensing. Even darkness itself, in the form of black holes, can shape light's journey, pulling it into spirals, making it circle endlessly before escaping or vanishing. The fabric of the universe is not static. It is elastic, pliable, always moving. Starlight sews into it not as a fixed stitch, but as a living thread, bending, stretching, shimmering in ways both visible and hidden. The cosmos is alive with this constant motion, Now imagine the silence of deep space, and in that silence, a single star's light cutting through. It is gentle, patient, unhurried. It does not falter. It travels without need, without end, until it meets something that can reflect it, absorb it, or notice it. That is the nature of starlight, humble persistence. From the smallest ember to the grandest supernova, each star contributes to the whole, each beam adding to the tapestry that would otherwise be only darkness. Without them, the universe would be invisible, unknowable. With them, it is luminous, filled with story. In this way, starlight sows the dark not only with beauty but with meaning. It tells us we are part of a living cosmos, connected by beams of light that stretch across impossible distances. It reminds us that even in the deepest silence there are threads of warmth and memory, weaving patterns too vast for us to ever fully see. And yet, even glimpsing a small part is enough. Enough to know the universe is alive, enough to know that we are part of its endless stitching. When we follow the path of starlight deeper, we begin to see that it is not only a glow that fills the dark, but also a thread that ties together matter, time, and life itself. Light is not a passive decoration of the cosmos. It is energy, and energy is the heartbeat of existence. Without it, galaxies would be invisible, planets would be barren, and life would never rise. Every sunrise, every glimmer of stars above, every flame that warms us is part of this endless weaving of energy. To drift into this thought is to realize that starlight is not only beauty, it is necessity, the quiet force that holds the tapestry together. Stars sow the dark in ways that are both grand and subtle. On the grandest scale, their combined light creates the glow of galaxies, sweeping arcs of brightness in the night sky. On smaller scales, individual beams warm planets, drive winds, carve rivers of weather across worlds. On Earth, sunlight enters the leaf of a tree, where chlorophyll captures it, turning it into sugar, turning it into life. That sugar feeds the tree feeds the forest, and the forest feeds countless creatures. From the smallest insect to the largest mammal, all depend on those threads of starlight captured in leaves. We too live from this light, for every bite of food we eat carries its energy, woven into grain, fruit, and seed. The tapestry extends through us as well, each heartbeat another stitch tied to the sun's ancient weaving. Even the oceans carry this light. Waves reflect it, algae absorb it, and in turn they fill the seas with life. Deep below, where sunlight cannot reach, creatures still depend on energy that began with stars, passed down through food chains, recycled endlessly. The glow of starlight becomes the glow of life, invisible yet essential, like dye spread through threads of fabric. When we walk through a forest or swim in the sea, we are moving through patterns stitched long ago by the energy of a star that has burned patiently for billions of years. To live is to be wrapped in this cloth, warmed by it, sustained by it. The weaving extends beyond Earth. Across the galaxy, planets orbit their stars, each one shaped by its light. Some receive too little, remaining frozen and still. Others receive too much, their surfaces scorched and restless. Yet in rare places, the balance is gentle enough to cradle water, to cradle possibility. Astronomers call this the habitable zone, the quiet band where starlight is neither too faint nor too fierce. It is a narrow window, yet within it, worlds like Earth may arise. The thought humbles us that life is a gift of balance, a weaving so delicate that even the smallest shift might unravel it. And yet, here we are, part of its design, each of us a thread in this careful pattern. Light also weaves time itself into the fabric of space. Every photon, every particle of light moves at a constant speed, the fastest motion in the universe. Because of this, it becomes a measure of distance. A light year, the span light covers in 1 year of endless travel. When we speak of stars being thousands of light years away, we are speaking of time as well as space. Their light began its journey long before we existed, long before our planet took its present shape. To look at a star is to look backward in time, to see the echo of what was. The night sky is not a present moment, but a quilt of memories stitched from ages past. Each star a note of history still glowing in our eyes. And yet light is not eternal. It fades as it travels, stretched and thinned by the expansion of the universe. Distant galaxies drift away from us, and their light lengthens into red, a soft stretching of waves called redshift. What was once bright becomes faint, what was once near becomes distant. Still, the light persists, carrying with it the story of the galaxy, the memory of stars long gone. Even in fading, it sows the dark, marking paths we would otherwise never know. The fabric of the universe is fragile, yet the stitches remain, even if faint, reminding us of what once was. Scientists study this light with delicate instruments, collecting faint beams and unravelling them. From the way a star's light bends, they learn of planets orbiting it. From the colours hidden within its spectrum, they learn of elements burning within it. From the faint glow that fills even the emptiest parts of space, they trace the story of the first stars that ever lived. In this way, starlight is not only a comfort to the soul, but a guide to the mind, a map written across the blackness. It teaches us where we are, what the universe is made of, and even how it began. To follow light is to follow knowledge. Each photon a tiny teacher carrying lessons from across time. But the most moving truth is how this weaving connects directly to us. The atoms in our bones, the iron in our blood, the calcium in our teeth, all were forged in the hearts of stars. When those stars ended their lives, they scattered these elements into space, where they gathered into clouds, into new stars, into planets, into us. In this sense, starlight is not only outside us, it is within us. Every breath, every thought, every step is possible because a star once burned and died, leaving behind the ingredients that now compose us. We are not separate from the cosmic fabric. We are threads woven from its very light. There is a deep calm in this realization. It means that no matter how small we may feel beneath the stars, we are not apart from them, we are of them. The starlight we see above us at night is the same starlight that shaped us. To look upward is to look inward, to recognize our own origins glowing back at us. It is as though the universe, in weaving its tapestry, has left us reminders of our place within it, gentle notes of belonging sewn into the dark. And so the dark is never empty. It is filled with threads of light, stretching endlessly, connecting galaxies, stars, planets, and lives. It is filled with stories told in colour, in warmth, in memory. To drift beneath the night sky is to rest beneath a blanket stitched by billions of stars, each one offering a thread, each one shaping the whole. The darkness is not absence, it is the background upon which light can weave its endless song. Starlight has always been more than a physical glow in the night. It has been a companion to wonder. Long before telescopes or science, people lifted their eyes to the stars and felt their quiet guidance. They traced constellations, giving shape to the random scatter of points, and in doing so wove stories of their own into the sky. Farmers followed the light to mark seasons. Sailors steered their ships across oceans by its patterns. Poets found metaphors in its shimmer. For all of human history, the stars have not only sown the dark with light, but also with meaning. They have been mirrors of imagination, teaching us to look outward and inward at once. Even now, in an age where we understand more of the science, the stars still hold that mystery. We know that they are spheres of plasma, burning with nuclear fusion, creating light from the merging of atoms. We know their ages, their distances, their fates. And yet when we look at them, we do not think only of equations. We feel something quieter, softer. The calm of starlight is not only in its physics, but in its presence. It offers reassurance, whispering that the dark is never absolute. However vast the silence, light endures. However cold the void, warmth travels across it, reaching even to us. In this way, stars remind us of resilience. Their light travels unceasingly even if no one is there to see it. A star in a distant galaxy shines, and its beams cross emptiness for millions of years. Perhaps they will pass unnoticed. Perhaps they will strike only dust. Or perhaps by chance they will reach a world with eyes turned upward. The star does not know, does not choose, and yet it shines. This persistence is its gift. It does not demand recognition. It simply gives. In that there is a lesson for us too, that beauty, kindness and meaning are worth offering even if they seem to vanish into silence. For somewhere, sometime they may be seen, and that is enough. And when we think of endings, starlight shows us that endings are never absolute. A star's life may end, but the light it has cast travels onward. Long after the star itself is gone, its glow may still be crossing the cosmos. Even in death, it contributes to the whole, scattering elements that become new worlds, new lives. Our own sun, billions of years from now, will fade, but its light will have shaped this planet, its energy having already become part of forests, oceans, and us. To think of this is to realize that nothing given in light is ever lost. It is transformed, woven into new threads, new patterns. In this sense, starlight is eternal, not in the form of individual stars, but in the continuation of the fabric itself. The stars also teach us patience. Their lives are measured not in centuries but in eons. To us they appear constant, unchanging, but in truth they are always in motion, always evolving. Their births, lives and deaths unfold on scales so vast we cannot perceive the change in our lifetimes. And yet they continue. Their slow transformations remind us that the universe is not rushed. It unfolds at its own pace, in its own rhythm, and still it arrives at beauty. When we feel hurried, uncertain, or lost, we can remember that even stars take their time, and yet they still light the dark. As we look forward into the universe, we also look back. The stars show us where we came from. Every atom heavier than hydrogen was forged in their hearts. The calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, the oxygen we breathe, all of it came from stars that lived and died before the sun was born. We are, in the truest sense, starlight made solid, starlight that thinks and feels. The stars sewed themselves into us, and now we carry their glow forward in our own ways. We are part of the same pattern, connected threads in a vast fabric. And perhaps that is the deepest gift of starlight: connection. When you stand beneath the night sky, you are looking at the same stars seen by those long before you, and the same stars that will shine long after you are gone. They connect generations, cultures and lives, binding us together across time. They connect Earth to the wider universe, linking our small world to distant galaxies, and they connect us to ourselves, reminding us that within us is the same fire that burns in them. To gaze at the stars is to remember we are never alone. We are stitched into a greater whole, luminous threads in a cosmic tapestry. Now imagine lying in a quiet field at night, the air still, the sky clear. Above, countless stars shimmer, each one carrying its own story, each one casting its own gentle light. Some are bright and near, others faint and far. Together they create a canopy that feels infinite. You breathe, and in that breath is oxygen made by stars. You rest, and in that rest is comfort from light that has travelled across ages to reach you. You close your eyes, and still the glow is there, a quiet presence woven into the dark. In that moment you feel what all who have ever looked upward have felt, that the universe, though vast, is intimate, and though silent, it speaks through its light. The darkness of space will always stretch outward, immense and unknowable, but it will never be empty, for the stars will always sow it with radiance. Their stitches are endless, their patterns unbroken, and we, in seeing them, in knowing them, in being made from them, are part of that same eternal weaving. Starlight sows the dark, and in its glow we remember that we belong. In the quiet stretches between stars there flows a river invisible to the naked eye, a river made not of water, but of dust, tiny grains of carbon, silicates and ice drifting slowly through the dark. It moves without rush, tracing paths that stretch across light years, weaving between suns and planets, past nebula and black holes. Some of these specks are ancient, remnants of stars that lived and died billions of years before our own sun ignited. Others are younger, formed in the aftermath of supernova or the gentle shedding of a star's outer layers. Every particle carries a story, a fragment of cosmic history, a note in the symphony of the universe that plays softly in the background of existence. Cosmic dust seems delicate, almost insignificant when compared to the immensity of space, yet it is fundamental. From these tiny grains, stars are born. Within vast clouds of gas and dust, gravity slowly gathers material together, pulling particles closer, weaving them into dense clumps. As these clumps grow, they heat, and eventually the conditions ignite nuclear fusion, giving birth to a star. Around these newborn stars, the remaining dust forms disks, swirling like rivers caught in invisible currents. From these disks, planets condense, forming rocky worlds, gas giants and icy bodies. Every planet, every moon, every comet carries the fingerprint of this dust, the quiet signature of the river from which it flowed. To imagine this is to picture a stream winding through the emptiness of space, sometimes spreading into gentle eddies, sometimes rushing through narrow corridors carved by gravity. The river flows slowly, almost imperceptibly, but over eons it sculpts landscapes, dictates the shape of galaxies, and gives rise to the complexity we call life. Even the Earth's soil, rich with minerals, is a product of this dust. The very atoms beneath our feet were once part of stars, crushed and scattered, drifting until they became part of a planet, part of the cycle that nurtures forests, rivers, and oceans. In this way, the cosmic river is not remote. It touches every living thing, flowing through the veins of time and matter alike. The journey of dust is not linear. Particles collide, fragment, stick together, and drift apart. Some fall into stars, consumed in nuclear furnaces and re-emitted as light and energy. Others spiral into black holes, disappearing from sight, their matter transformed into gravitational waves and unseen energy. And yet, the river continues. It is a quiet persistence, a constant reshaping of the cosmos, a testament to the slow patience of the universe. When we gaze at the night sky, we are seeing the results of countless dust grains coming together, forming stars that shine, planets that orbit, and life that breathes. Within the cosmic river, there are regions of astonishing beauty. Nebulae, for example, are enormous clouds of dust and gas, glowing softly with the light of embedded stars. They seem ethereal, delicate as silk threads floating in space, yet they are powerful engines of creation. Inside their folds, gravity gathers material into protostars, and chemical reactions form simple molecules, the precursors of water, amino acids, and eventually the building blocks of life. These clouds are both nursery and archive, places where matter is born and remembered. They remind us that creation is a process, slow and patient, requiring nothing but time and the gentle pull of invisible forces. Even the tiniest dust particles have their own subtle stories. Microscopic, they drift through interstellar space, often unnoticed, yet capable of affecting light itself. When clouds of dust pass between a star and an observer, they can scatter and absorb light, creating the soft reds and blues seen in nebula. These grains also carry isotopes that scientists study to trace the origins of elements, revealing how matter cycles from star to dust to planet, and planet to living beings. It is astonishing to realize that in the randomness of drifting dust, there is order, a coded message of the universe written in the language of atoms and molecules. The river's motion is also a dance with time. Dust from ancient stars may have traveled billions of years before reaching a new solar system. Its journey is slow, almost imperceptible, but inevitable. It carries with it the memory of explosions, the echo of supernovae, the whisper of stars long gone. When we study meteorites on Earth, we hold these memories in our hands. Tiny fragments of cosmic dust embed in rock, forming bridges between the present and the distant past. In this way, the river of dust is not merely physical, it is historical, a flowing archive of the universe's life story, a soft narration written in particles. On Earth, we experience the river in subtler ways. Comets, made largely of dust and ice, sweep through the inner solar system, leaving trails that light the night sky. Meteors streak across our atmosphere, tiny grains igniting as they burn. Even the air we breathe carries microscopic particles that once floated among the stars. To breathe, then, is to participate in the river, to inhale fragments of cosmic history, to carry the story of distant suns and vanished worlds into ourselves. It is a gentle reminder of connection, that even in the mundane the universe has left its mark. And so the river of dust teaches patience and humility. Its movements are slow, often imperceptible, yet it shapes the universe in ways both grand and intimate. It is a gentle reminder that even the smallest things matter, that fragments can gather to form galaxies, worlds, and life itself. Every particle of dust, no matter how tiny, is part of a continuum, a river that flows endlessly, connecting the past with the present, the distant with the near, the cosmos with us. To drift alongside it in imagination is to understand that the universe is always creating, always weaving, and always carrying its history forward in the quiet motion of the smallest grains. The river of cosmic dust, though silent and invisible to most eyes, is one of the most essential threads in the great fabric of creation. It moves gently, without command, without resistance, and yet it shapes the destinies of stars, planets, and even the molecules of life. To drift deeper into its story is to witness how the universe builds itself, not in great leaps, but in soft gatherings. It does not roar or thunder. It accumulates patiently, piece by piece, until something new emerges from what once seemed scattered and small. This is the wisdom of the dust. That transformation begins in stillness, and even the faintest material holds the power to become something beautiful. As we peer into the regions of space where dust collects most densely, we find the birthplaces of stars. These dark nebulae, like the pillars of creation or the Horsehead Nebula, are often cold and opaque, veiling their contents from view. Yet hidden inside are dense pockets where dust and gas collapse together, warmed by pressure and bound by gravity. Over millions of years, these pockets ignite, lighting the dark from within. New stars are born, and around them disks of dust begin to swirl. These disks are rich in elements, carbon, iron, silicon, and they spin and flatten, giving rise to asteroids, comets, and eventually planets. It is here that the river of dust becomes more than potential. It becomes form, structure, and foundation. Imagine now the early moments of a solar system like ours. The young star shines in the centre, its light pushing outward as gravity pulls inward. Around it, the dust dances, caught in delicate balance. Some particles cling together, sticking in clusters that grow like snowflakes. Others crash, shatter, and reform. Over time, these collisions build planetesimals, larger bodies that sweep through the dust disk, gathering more and more. The dance is not always gentle. It is filled with impacts, disruptions, and starts anew. But slowly, amid the chaos, order arises. Planets take shape, carving paths through the dust, each one a world in waiting. In this way, every world is born from dust. Not just Earth, but all planets in all solar systems across the galaxy. Each carries with it the fingerprint of its origin, the materials gathered from the river's endless drift. Some are rocky, like Mercury or Mars, their surfaces marked by craters and scars of ancient collisions. Others, like Jupiter or Saturn, are vast and gaseous, built from lighter elements but still formed in the same swirling dust. And then there are the icy worlds at the edges, made from the frozen remains of the cosmic river's colder streams. Each planet is a different verse in the same poem, a different ripple in the same flow. But the river does not stop at planets. Around them, moons form from the leftover dust, creating miniature systems within systems. Some moons may be large and geologically active, like Jupiter's Europa or Saturn's Enceladus, where subsurface oceans suggest the possibility of life. Others are quiet and cratered, time-worn relics of the early solar system. All are shaped by the same gentle process: dust gathering, colliding, becoming. The universe does not need sudden miracles to create. It works with the smallest thing over the longest time, guided by the soft rhythm of accumulation and change. Cosmic dust also travels beyond the solar system, drifting through interstellar space. Some of it is pushed outward by stellar winds flowing far beyond its birthplace. Some is caught in the pull of new stars, recycled again and again through generations of stellar birth and death. The atoms in your body may have passed through such cycles many times, first as part of a star, then as dust, then perhaps in a planet, before returning to space. And now, here you are, reading, breathing, thinking, woven from material that once drifted across the void, aimless and unseen. This is the quiet miracle of dust, that it forgets nothing, carries everything, and waits patiently for its next transformation. The dust that reaches Earth still speaks of this cosmic journey. Each day, small grains fall from the sky, micrometeorites landing in oceans, on mountain tops, in cities. Most are too small to notice, but they are everywhere. They settle in snow, sink into soil, and sometimes lodge in rocks. Scientists collect these grains and examine their structure. Some contain isotopes not found naturally on Earth, proving their origin in ancient stars. Others carry microscopic crystals formed in the heat of distant supernovae. These are the crumbs of the universe, scattered at our feet, free to those who know how to look. And just as the dust falls from above, so too does it rise from below. Volcanic ash, desert sand, pollen. These earthly particles mirror the cosmic ones. They float on the wind, settle, and sometimes lift again. The cycles of dust on Earth echo the cycles of dust in space. Both are driven by unseen currents. Both shape the world in quiet ways. On Earth, dust cools the atmosphere, seeds clouds, and fertilizes oceans. In space, it dims starlight, guides planet formation, and carries complex molecules across light years. There is no boundary between the earthly and the cosmic. The river flows through both. In the great black sea of space, dust is also the sculptor of light. When stars shine behind a cloud of dust, their light is softened, scattered into colours that paint the sky. This is how we see nebulae, clouds aglow with soft reds, pinks and purples, their colours shaped by the dust they contain. Light and dust together create beauty, like paint on canvas. One without the other is incomplete. Light gives the energy, dust gives the form, and together they show us that even in the darkest places, there is art, there is motion, there is life. As we learn more about dust, we begin to see that it's not just debris, it is possibility. Within its grains are complex molecules, carbon chains, alcohols, and even amino acid precursors. These are not life, but they are its ingredients. Delivered by comets or meteorites, these molecules may have helped spark the chemistry of early Earth. They may do the same on other worlds. Perhaps somewhere in the galaxy, a world rich with dust is gathering these molecules now. Perhaps life is beginning again somewhere new, shaped by the same slow river. If so, then dust is more than a physical substance. It is a messenger, a courier of potential. And through it all, the river never stops flowing. It passes through galaxies, between stars, around planets, across eons. It does not need direction. It follows gravity and light, two forces that whisper across the void, gently pulling, gently guiding. The dust listens, it drifts, and in its drift, it shapes everything. From the bones of stars to the breath of trees, From the rings of Saturn to the surface of your skin, the dust flows on. Is the memory of the universe and the promise of its future, moving softly, endlessly through the dark. To follow the river of cosmic dust to its quietest edges is to touch the subtle heart of the universe. It does not shine like stars or burst like supernovae, does not roar like black holes or burn with the brilliance of galaxies. It whispers, it drifts, and yet it is everywhere. It flows through the arms of spiral galaxies and the spaces between them. It weaves the atmospheres of planets and the rings of moons. It hangs like breath around dying stars and slips through the fingers of creation itself. Wherever we look, we find it, not only as substance but as a thread of memory and motion. The universe is clothed in this dust, wrapped gently in a garment woven over billions of years. At the centre of galaxies, near glowing cores and crowded starfields, dust filters and shapes the view. In some places, it hides what lies beyond, casting shadows across the light. In others, it enhances, scattering beams into rich halos and soft glows. Even the Milky Way seen from Earth is streaked with these rivers of dark dust, soft veins cutting through the brighter stars like brush strokes across a painted sky. These dark streaks are not empty. They are full, dense with potential. In them, new stars are waiting, hidden embryos of light still wrapped in their blankets of carbon and ice. To the eye, they are only dark, but to the universe they are seeds. And like seeds, they will grow when the time is right. When gravity deepens and temperatures rise, these clouds will collapse and light will emerge. New stars will burn where only silence lived before. The dust will fall inward, condensing into rings, into rocks, into planets that may one day carry oceans, skies and songs. In this way, dust is not only the result of what came before, but the raw promise of what comes next. It is memory and dream in one, both the ashes of ancient stars and the clay of new worlds. The river moves forward, always, creating as it forgets, forgetting as it creates. Even in destruction, dust plays its part. When stars explode, they scatter their insides into space, flinging atoms far and wide. The shock waves from supernova stir surrounding clouds, compressing the dust, waking it from stillness. These cosmic catastrophes are not ends, but invitations, loud notes in a quiet song that say, "Begin again." The dust listens, moves, gathers, and the cycle continues. There is no final stillness in the universe. Even what seems like ruin is simply rearrangement, a reweaving of the fabric in a new and beautiful form. On Earth, we are surrounded by echoes of this river. We see it in meteor showers, brief flashes of light as dust grains burn in the sky. We find it in ancient rocks, tiny inclusions that bear the signature of stars beyond our own. We feel it in the minerals beneath our feet, in the iron in our blood, in the salt in our tears. All of it was once dust, all of it once drifted between the stars. This is not poetic metaphor alone, it is scientific truth. The atoms that make you, the ones that carry thought, breath, and heartbeat, were once part of a cosmic cloud, invisible and slow, waiting to be called into form. Perhaps the most profound thing about the river of dust is its gentleness. In a universe often described by violent forces and colossal energies, the dust is quiet. It does not insist on being seen. It shapes without shouting. It is content to move slowly, to gather over eons, to allow change to arrive in its own time. There is wisdom in this slowness, in the way that everything soft eventually becomes strong. From specks, mountains, from fragments, planets, from drifting grains, entire galaxies. And just as this dust shapes the external universe, it also stirs something within us. To know we are made from stars is to walk through life with a certain stillness in the heart. To realize that every particle in our body has been on a journey longer than the Earth itself is to feel a connection not only to the sky above, but to the time beneath our feet. We do not stand outside the cosmos, looking in. We are threads in its tapestry, drawn from the same river, returning to it in time. Imagine now the future of this dust. The sun someday far from now will expand and shed its outer layers. The planets will be scorched or scattered, and yet the materials will remain. The atoms will move outward, joining the river once more. They may travel for ages before they are caught by another cloud, pulled into the birth of a new star, a new system, and perhaps, someday, another being will walk upon a new world and wonder at the dust in the wind, never knowing it once passed through Earth. This is the legacy of the river. Nothing is lost. Everything changes. Everything continues. Even now, with modern telescopes and instruments, we are only beginning to understand how complex and vital this dust is. We send probes to comets to collect its grains. We study the faint glow of interstellar dust that warms the background of the sky. We listen to its signals in infrared, in radio, in microwaves. It speaks in frequencies we cannot hear unaided, but when translated, its language tells us the history of stars, the chemistry of life, and the quiet logic of creation. The more we learn, the more reverent we become, for in the dust is not only science, but silence, not only data, but poetry. And so we end this story not with a bang or a conclusion, but with a continuation. The river of cosmic dust flows on, shaping galaxies, forming planets, building life. It is the breath of the universe, slow and constant, always moving. It reminds us that we do not need to be large to matter. We do not need to burn brightly to create. Even the smallest presence, when persistent, can become a world. The dust tells us that gentleness is not weakness, but power of the quietest kind. Look to the night sky. Between the stars in the darkness the river flows. It carries the past, the present, and all possible futures. It carries us. We are made from it, and we will return to it. And in that great cycle, we are never lost. We are always becoming. In the quiet folds of space where even light dares not pass, there exist the most mysterious of all cosmic entities. Black holes. They do not shimmer or glow. They do not call attention with brightness or flame. Instead, they are places where the fabric of reality turns inward, where time stretches, and where gravity grows so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. But these are not simply voids or cosmic traps. Black holes are part of the story of creation. They are endings that lead to beginnings, and though they do not shine, they speak in the language of motion, of influence, of gravity's deep breath drawn into the unseen. To truly understand a black hole, one must first travel to the end of a star's life. Imagine a massive star, many times larger than our sun, burning for millions of years in brilliant fusion, forging elements in its core, hydrogen into helium, then into carbon, and onward into iron. But iron is the final note in this stellar symphony. When a star's core becomes iron, it can no longer sustain fusion. The balance between outward pressure and inward gravity collapses, In an instant, the core gives way and the outer layers fall inward. The result is a supernova, a massive explosion that scatters elements into space. What remains deep at the heart is a singularity, a point of infinite density, the birth of a black hole. At first, this singularity is hidden behind a veil called the event horizon, a boundary from which nothing can return. Anything that crosses this invisible line is drawn inward, unable to escape. But the black hole does not grow in chaos, it grows in stillness. It pulls not as a vacuum but as a weight. Planets, dust, gas all feel its presence. Stars may orbit it for millions of years, dancing along the edge, close but untouched. Light bends around it, curving like water around a stone. And though it is invisible, its presence is painted in the shapes and paths of everything nearby. Black holes do not always drift alone. In the centres of galaxies, they anchor the hearts of billions of stars. These are the supermassive black holes, millions or even billions of times the mass of the Sun. Our own Milky Way has one named Sagittarius, a star, quiet and cloaked in darkness, yet holding our galaxy together with its gravity. Without it, the stars would wander, the spiral arms would unravel. It breathes in mass from time to time, gas clouds, wandering stars, and in doing so it shapes the destiny of the galaxy itself. It is not a monster, but a keystone, a silent heart around which the cosmos turns. Despite their reputation as destroyers, black holes are also creators. When matter spirals into them, it heats up, glowing brightly just before crossing the horizon. This process emits powerful jets of energy, beams that travel across millions of light years. These jets can shape galaxies, trigger the birth of stars, and seed the universe with energy. In this way, black holes breathe. They inhale matter and exhale influence, their unseen presence shaping the visible world in profound ways. They are not simply ends, they are sculptors. To drift near a black hole is to feel time slow. As gravity intensifies, the flow of time dilates. A second near the event horizon could stretch into days, years, or centuries to a distant observer. This is not fiction, but the prediction of Einstein's relativity. Proven by observation. The gravity well is not just a pit in space, it is a pit in time. And so, black holes are not only places of great mass, they are places where time itself curves and folds. To approach one is to travel not just through space, but through the deep structure of reality. Though we cannot see inside a black hole, we can listen to its echoes. When two black holes collide, they send out ripples in space-time called gravitational waves. These waves stretch and compress the fabric of the universe, reaching even to Earth. We have built instruments sensitive enough to detect these ripples, waves from collisions that happened billions of years ago. These are the whispers of black holes, the sound of their breath in the dark. They tell us of their motion, their union, their ancient dance. For the first time, we are not only seeing the universe, we are hearing it. What lies beyond the event horizon remains a mystery. Some theories suggest a singularity, a point where physics breaks down. Others propose wormholes or connections to other parts of the universe, or even to other universes entirely. We do not know. The math becomes strange, the answers uncertain. And yet that uncertainty is not a failure, it is an invitation. Black holes are the questions we carry into the future, the mysteries that keep science awake and dreaming. In their cairns, they ask us to keep listening. They also teach humility. Their gravity is absolute. Their pull is final. Yet they do not rage or destroy with fire. They wait. They rest. And in that stillness they shape galaxies, influence time and bend the paths of light itself. They remind us that the universe is not built only by brilliance, but also by gravity, the quiet force that gathers, holds and transforms. Black holes are not the end of understanding, they are the horizon toward which understanding moves. Imagine now a star caught in a black hole's orbit. It spirals slowly inward, pulled closer with each turn. Its light stretches into red, then fades. It disappears. Yet the energy it once carried now becomes part of the black hole's mass, part of its gravity, part of the next breath it takes. Nothing is lost, everything transforms. The same is true for galaxies, for gas, for dust. They are drawn in, and though we do not see them again, we feel their influence. Black holes are memory. They hold what was, even if we no longer see it. In this way, black holes offer a kind of peace, not an absence, but a quiet holding, not destruction, but a folding inward. In the great cosmic balance, they are the end notes to stellar songs, the final rest that allows the next verse to begin. Without them, the universe would be scattered, chaotic. With them, it holds together, woven in invisible threads of gravity and time. To think of black holes is to think of the unknown, but also of the known. Their effects are measurable, their presence undeniable. We know them by the way they shape the world around them, and perhaps this is the most profound truth they offer, that what we do not see may still guide us, that the unseen can be real, that mystery can be steady, that silence can breathe. To drift deeper into the world of black holes is to drift into the very boundaries of what we know, and to stand at the edge of what we might yet discover. These are not simply cosmic anomalies tucked away in distant galaxies. They are woven into the very architecture of the universe. From the smallest black holes, born in the death throes of massive stars, to the enormous ones resting at the centres of galaxies, each plays a role in shaping the flow of time and matter. They are not disruptions, they are part of the rhythm, and their presence, though quiet, is profound. Black holes come in many sizes. Some, only a few times the mass of our Sun, are known as stellar mass black holes. They are scattered throughout the galaxy, remnants of once luminous giants. Others are thousands or millions of times larger, intermediate black holes, still elusive, still mysterious, like stepping stones between the small and the massive. And at the greatest scale are the supermassive black holes, ancient and central, shaping not just stars but entire galaxies. It is still unknown exactly how these giants came to be. Some believe they grew from smaller black holes, slowly feeding for billions of years. Others wonder if they formed directly from massive clouds in the early universe, collapsing in silence before the first stars lit the dark. Though they are silent now, black holes were once surrounded by brilliance. In their youth, as they fed hungrily, they were wrapped in glowing accretion disks, spiraling streams of matter heated to extreme temperatures. These disks glowed so brightly that they could outshine entire galaxies. We call these active galactic nuclei or quasars. From across billions of light years, we can still see their ancient glow. These quasars were the beacons of the early universe, fueled by the breath of black holes. They tell us that even what consumes can also illuminate. Even what draws inward can radiate outward. And yet, despite their influence, black holes remain largely invisible. We detect them not by what they emit, but by what they move. Stars that orbit nothing, light that curves strangely, X-rays that flicker from unseen places, all are signatures of the invisible. In 2019, humanity saw its first image of a black hole, not the black hole itself, but the shadow it cast against glowing matter. It was a ring of fire surrounding a dark heart, captured not by a single telescope but by a global network, all working together as one. That image reminded us that even the most elusive truths can be revealed if we are patient and if we look together. Black holes also hold the key to some of the greatest questions in physics. What happens to information that falls inside? Does it vanish? Is it stored somehow in the surface, as some suggest? Or is it transformed into something we cannot yet understand? This is the information paradox, a puzzle that unites quantum mechanics and general relativity, and yet defies both. Some theories propose that black holes are not as final as they seem, that over time they may radiate energy, a slow evaporation called Hawking radiation. If this is true, then even black holes die. Even they release what they have gathered, dissolving slowly into the universe once more. This possibility gives us a poetic symmetry. If stars end in black holes, and black holes too end in light, then the universe is never still. It is always cycling, always returning, always breathing. The idea that a black hole could vanish, leaving behind only a whisper of radiation, adds another layer to their mystery. Not only are they not eternal, they may be moments in a much longer journey. Even the most immovable things, the most silent, may eventually pass, yet it is their silence that speaks most deeply. Black holes do not cry out. They do not scatter like stars or blaze like novas. They wait. Their influence is quiet and inescapable. We feel it in the stars they guide, in the light they bend, in the time they stretch. There is something comforting in their constancy. In a universe of flux and fire, black holes are still points, the deep breaths drawn between cosmic phrases. They are punctuation, pausing the sentence, letting meaning settle before moving forward, and they invite us to imagine beyond. Some physicists believe that black holes may be gateways, not just to destruction but to connection, that inside them may lie bridges, wormholes, to other parts of the universe. If so, then black holes are not ends at all, but passageways. They are doors hidden behind curtains of gravity. We do not know if such paths exist, but the math allows for the possibility, and possibility is the first light of discovery. Whether or not they are real, the idea reshapes our thinking. It reminds us that what looks like a boundary may be a beginning in disguise. Even if no passage lies within, black holes remind us how deeply space and time are connected. They teach us that gravity is not just a force but a shaping of reality itself, that mass bends space, and that bending shapes the path of light and time. To walk near a black hole, even in imagination, is to feel the very ground of existence tilt and stretch. The closer one drifts to the event horizon, the slower time moves. A minute to the traveller may be centuries to the observer. It is a reminder that time is not fixed. It flows differently in different places, shaped by presence, by mass, by motion. For all their mystery, black holes are part of the same universe we live in. They are not elsewhere. They are here, just hidden. There may be one only a few thousand light years from Earth. It may be silent now, unaccompanied by a glowing disk, but it drifts among the stars like a ghost ship in the night. It waits, as all black holes do, for something to pass close to be drawn in. But even as it waits, it shapes. Its gravity extends outward. brushing the paths of nearby stars, bending the background starlight ever so slightly. It is present, even in its invisibility. And so we live in a universe where some of the most powerful forces are also the most quiet, where the greatest masses are hidden in shadows, where the deepest truths may not be seen but felt. Black holes are part of this gentle contradiction. They are both the most simple and the most complex. A point of mass, a knot in space-time, an open question, a silent breath drawn by the cosmos. To reflect on black holes is to reflect on the nature of mystery itself. There is something we cannot know, something we may never see, and yet that unknowing does not frighten, it invites, it softens us. It reminds us that wonder is born not only in answers but in silence, and in the quiet breath of black holes we find the pause that allows wonder to grow. Let us now return to the place where black holes breathe, the still heart of the cosmos where gravity folds space and time begins to blur. As we drift gently toward the end of this story, we begin to understand that black holes are not just scientific curiosities. They are part of a deeper rhythm, a cosmic inhale and exhale, a pulse that echoes through the universe not in sound but in shape, in motion, in silence. They are reminders that everything, no matter how bright, how massive, how enduring, eventually returns to stillness. But in that stillness lies continuation, not finality. The breath of black holes is not the end, it is a turning. All around the universe, black holes sit quietly, some in the centres of galaxies, others in binary systems with companion stars, and still more drifting alone remnants of long-lost suns. Each is a memory made dense. A star that once burned brightly, gave warmth, light, and elements to its surroundings, now collapsed inward to a point so small and heavy that not even light escapes. Yet nothing of that star is truly gone. Its mass remains, its gravity remains, its influence continues, shaping the orbits of stars, bending the trajectories of dust, writing its presence into the very architecture of the galaxy. Even the emptiest places are not empty. Gravity extends like a quiet hand, reaching far beyond what the eye can see. One black hole, resting alone, may hold an entire cluster of stars in balance. Another, unseen, may pass quietly through the galaxy, bending light, slowing time, brushing against the edge of systems without ever making a sound. This is the power of stillness. Not in noise, but in effect. Not in drama, but in persistence. A reminder that what is unseen may still be the foundation. As we move into the future, black holes may become the last active objects in the universe. Stars will burn out, galaxies will dim, and matter will grow sparse. But black holes, especially the supermassive ones, may remain. They will drift slowly through a darkening universe, still breathing in whatever passes close, still shaping the space around them. And even as they emit their faint Hawking radiation, slowly losing mass, they will continue for trillions of years, perhaps longer, until one day, even they too will evaporate, leaving behind not a crater, but a whisper, not absence, but a smooth continuation. This long future does not feel cold when we think of black holes. Rather, it feels soft, peaceful, a reminder that the universe is not rushing, that time stretches not just across years, but across eternities. Black holes teach us to think in long rhythms, in deep time, in the unfolding of galaxies and the quiet shaping of space. They show us that even endings are not sudden, but gentle fade-outs, not vanishing, but becoming something else. We too are touched by black holes, not directly perhaps, but through the paths of stars, the shaping of galaxies, the gravity that binds our world to the sun and the sun to the Milky Way, the structure of our sky, the dance of celestial bodies, the spirals of starlight. All of it is subtly informed by the breath of black holes, and more intimately in our minds and questions, they shape our curiosity. They push us to imagine what lies beyond the visible, what bends time, what holds the secret to the fabric of space itself. They are the edges of our knowing, and like any horizon, they pull us toward exploration. And in a way they reflect something within us. Just as light bends near them, our thoughts curve around questions we cannot fully answer. Just as matter is drawn inward, we too are drawn toward mystery. We are curious beings, always reaching for what lies just beyond the veil. Black holes do not answer us, but they give us space to ask. They give us the silence in which questions can echo. They give us the wonder that makes science poetic. Perhaps one day we will understand more. We may find ways to probe the event horizon, to learn what lies inside. We may even find that black holes connect parts of the universe we never dreamed could be linked. But even if we do not, even if they remain forever quiet and hidden, they will still be teachers. They will still hold space for wonder, for mystery, for awe. So let us imagine just for a moment standing near the edge of one. Not close enough to fall, but close enough to feel the distortion of time, the stretch of space. The stars above us bend slightly as if looking into a dark mirror. The sky ripples faintly, not with wind, but with gravity. The silence is deep, not empty, but full of presence. We are still. We are watching. And in this watching, we are participating in something ancient and vast. The black hole breathes, and we feel it. There is no roar, no scream, no flame. Only the softest curve of time, the gentlest pull of mass. Only the sense that here, the universe is folding itself, resting for a while before it continues. Here the cosmos exhales. And so we step back, leaving the horizon behind, carrying with us the knowledge that even in the darkest, most silent places, the universe is alive. It is thinking, changing and waiting. Black holes are not just ends, they are breaths, they are pauses, they are the space between the notes of the cosmic symphony, the silence that makes the music. Let us remember, as we drift onward through stars and stories, that the unseen matters, that mystery is not absence, that gravity, like love, is felt more than seen, and that even the quietest presence can shape everything around it. Black holes breathe, and in their breath the universe finds balance. In the deep hush of the cosmos, galaxies turn slowly, like ancient minds remembering dreams from long ago. Their spiral arms sweep through space not only with grace, but with memory. Echoes of the early universe etched into the stars, the dust, the dark matter that binds them. Galaxies are not just vast islands of light, they are archives. They remember what the universe has been, what it has seen, and how it began. Each one carries the quiet imprint of time's first breath, woven into the paths of stars, into the ripples of gas, into the motions of gravity that began long before planets were born. To imagine a galaxy is to imagine a collection of billions of stars, each one a sun, each one a point of light with its own story. But galaxies are more than their stars. They are shaped by the spaces in between, by dust, by gas, by invisible forces. They hold within them not only the present but the past, fossil light from the ancient stars, elements forged in the early fires, structures shaped by gravity born just after the Big Bang. When you look at a galaxy through a telescope, you're not only seeing what is there, you're seeing what was. Light takes time to travel, and even the closest galaxies show us their older selves. In this way, galaxies are both windows and mirrors, showing us the past even as they carry the present forward. The early universe was a sea of simplicity, hydrogen, helium, and dark matter drifting outward from the first flash of light. It was a quiet beginning, but not a static one. Tiny fluctuations, ripples in the fabric of space-time, gave gravity something to hold on to. These ripples, as small as they were, began to pull matter together. Over millions of years, these threads grew denser, forming the first structures. Galaxies were born from these gatherings, shaped not suddenly but gradually, the way rivers carve valleys or wind shapes dunes. Their form was not imposed from above, but emerged from the dance of attraction and flow. In those first galaxies, stars formed quickly and burned hot. These were massive, short-lived stars, brief candles in the darkness. They lived and died before the galaxies even found their full shape, exploding as supernovae, scattering the first heavy elements into space. These elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, would later become part of planets, part of oceans, part of breath. But in the beginning they floated free, waiting. Galaxies remember these early sacrifices, the stars that came and went to give birth to what would come next. Their remnants still echo in the light we see, in the patterns of radiation that hum across the cosmos. As galaxies grew, they collided, merged, and reshaped themselves. These mergers were not rare, they were constant, like waves meeting in the sea, folding into one another, each encounter changing the course of stars and matter. The galaxies we see now are often the result of many such unions, and within them the memory of these events remains, not just in structure, but in motion. Streams of stars stretch across space, like ribbons left behind by the dance. These streams are the scars of past encounters, but also their beauty, threads that bind one time to another, one system to another. Galaxies do not forget, they wear their history. Our own Milky Way is one such memory keeper. It has devoured smaller galaxies, absorbed them, blended their stars into its spiral arms, and yet the stars remember. They move differently, they carry different chemical fingerprints. Astronomers can trace them like old songs in a new melody. The Milky Way's halo, a vast diffuse cloud of stars surrounding the galaxy, is filled with these remnants. They drift slowly, their orbits long, their origins distant. And among them are globular clusters, dense gatherings of stars that have remained bound for billions of years. These clusters are among the oldest objects we can observe. They remember a time when the universe was still young. But galaxies do not only remember through stars, they remember through the cold gas that winds through their disks, through the dust that veils their cores, through the shape of their arms and the thickness of their halos. Gas clouds carry the raw material for future generations of stars, but they also carry echoes of the early universe's chemistry. Dust grains contain the signatures of supernovae, of elements forged in stellar hearts. Even the black holes at the centers of galaxies carry memory. not of what they contain, for we cannot see inside, but of what they have influenced, what they have shaped. Their mass, their motion, their surroundings, all are records written in gravity. Across the universe there are galaxies of every kind, spiral, elliptical, irregular, each one a different kind of memory. Spirals like our own are active, star-forming, dynamic. Their arms are like turning pages, each one filled with newborn stars. Ellipticals are quieter, older, more settled. They contain less gas, fewer young stars, but more of the ancient light, more of the stars that have seen billions of years pass. Irregular galaxies are in between, often distorted by nearby companions, their shape revealing the story of encounters, of change, of flux. Each type remembers the universe in its own way. Each tells a different version of the same origin. And galaxies remember not only through structure but through movement. When astronomers map the motions of stars and gas within a galaxy, they are reading a kind of history book. The speed of rotation, the angles of orbits, the places where motion breaks from pattern, all of it tells a story of what came before. Just as a tree's rings tell of seasons past, or a mountain's layers tell of ancient oceans, a galaxy's dynamics tell of its beginnings. It is not a story written in words, but in velocity, in density, in temperature, a story that requires patience to read and wonder to feel. Light, too, is part of this memory. Galaxies glow not just with current stars, but with the accumulated light of all they have ever been. The infrared warmth of dust, the ultraviolet shine of young clusters, the X-ray flash of dying stars, all blend into a spectrum that holds the past within it. By studying this light, we can estimate ages, compositions, distances. We can see galaxies as they were billions of years ago, when the universe was just beginning to find its shape. The further we look, the further back we see. And the galaxies, even across that time, still speak to us. They say, "This is what it was like. This is what I remember." To stand beneath the night sky and gaze at a galaxy, even faintly, is to look into deep time. It is to see not only what is, but what was. What began in silence, grew in light, and continues in motion. The stars are not just burning, they are remembering. The dust is not just drifting, it is telling. The arms are not just turning, they are carrying the music of the cosmos, note by note, from the first breath of the universe to the present moment. And we, though small, are part of that music too. To drift deeper into the memory held within galaxies is to enter a story not bound by pages, but by gravity, by light, by time. The tale is told not in a single voice, but in countless overlapping melodies, each star a syllable, each orbit a sentence, each glowing arm a winding chapter that curls across the sky. Galaxies are not only record keepers of the universe's past, they are living storytellers, their structure and movement whispering the history of creation with every slow turn. The stars themselves are the oldest librarians. Some of them have burned for nearly the entire age of the universe. These ancient stars, called population 2 stars, formed when the cosmos was still young, when only a few generations of supernovae had enriched the universe with heavier elements. They shine with a distinctive light, slightly different in colour and composition from newer stars, and they reside mostly in the halos of galaxies, orbiting far from the glowing disks. Their chemical fingerprints tell us that they were born when the elements we now depend on, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, were still rare. These stars are windows into a time before planets like Earth were even possible, when the universe was simpler, quieter, more elemental. Meanwhile, younger stars form in the spiral arms, glowing blue and white, burning hot and fast. They are the punctuation marks of galactic memory, brief bursts of brilliance that mark recent chapters. These are the stars that light up nebulae, that sculpt new worlds, that give galaxies their luminous texture. But they do not live long. Many will explode in brilliant deaths, casting their materials into space, enriching the interstellar medium, writing their own contribution to the evolving tale. They are the voices of the present, loud and vivid, brief but unforgettable. In the space between stars lies another kind of memory, the interstellar medium. It is filled with gas and dust, often cold, sometimes glowing, always in motion. This medium is a kind of cosmic notebook where galaxies write their intentions for the future. Here, clouds condense into stars, stars die and return their ashes, and the next cycle begins. The gas remembers where stars have passed, the dust holds the signatures of explosions long gone, and the magnetic fields that twist through these clouds trace paths carved over eons. What seems empty is in fact rich with detail. Every molecule, every dust grain, is a note in the long music of the galaxy. And galaxies sing together. They do not exist in isolation. They gather in groups, in clusters, in vast filaments that stretch like a web across the observable universe. These large-scale structures are themselves fossils of the early cosmos, formed by the same tiny fluctuations in the primordial plasma that gave birth to galaxies. As gravity pulled galaxies together, they formed bridges of matter, superclusters and voids, patterns that reveal the imprint of those first ripples in space and time. Even now, galaxies drift within this web, pulled by its threads, each one moving according to a plan written billions of years ago. Some galaxies carry especially vivid memories of violence. Collisions and mergers leave behind tangled shapes, tails of stars flung far from their centres, rings and waves of gas thrown into motion. These are not merely chaotic scars, they are records. The shape of a tidal tail, the temperature of a gas stream, the tilt of a warped disk. All of these encode the details of encounters that happened hundreds of millions of years ago. Astronomers read these patterns like detectives, reconstructing the history of galactic collisions long after they occurred. The galaxies remember, not in words but in structure. The way galaxies spin is also a kind of memory. Angular momentum, once imparted, is conserved. A small cloud of gas, spinning ever so slightly, collapses into a disk because it remembers how it began. The disk flattens, the stars orbit, and the entire galaxy becomes a wheel turning on the axle of its past. Even the direction of that spin may carry echoes of the forces that shaped it. Interactions with nearby galaxies, the tug of dark matter, the legacy of ancient flows of gas. Galaxies do not move randomly, they remember the hands that turned them. Within the hearts of galaxies lie black holes, and these too are record keepers. Though we cannot see inside them, the space around them holds a memory of all that has been drawn in. The mass of the black hole tells us how much matter it has consumed. The motion of nearby stars tells us how long it has held the centre. And in some galaxies, we find jets, narrow beams of particles launched from just outside the black hole's horizon, travelling at nearly the speed of light. These jets are among the most powerful phenomena in the universe, and they etch their presence across hundreds of thousands of light years. They mark a moment in time when the galaxy's centre was active, feeding, shaping its surroundings. They are the black hole's breath, recorded across the cosmos. Even dark matter, though invisible, holds memory. It shaped the scaffolding on which galaxies formed. Without it, galaxies would not exist. Though we cannot see it, we feel its pull. We see how galaxies rotate more quickly than expected, how clusters bind together more tightly than visible matter allows. These are clues, footprints in the fabric of space-time, showing us where dark matter has moved, where it has held things together. It is memory not of light, but of gravity, a quiet structure that allowed all else to bloom. And we, here on Earth, are part of this memory as well. The atoms in our bodies were forged in stars that lived and died long before our sun. Our galaxy remembers them. The heavy elements we rely on, iron, calcium, phosphorus, were created in moments of stellar death and rebirth, folded into the Milky Way's dust, gathered into planets, gathered into life. We carry within us the evidence of countless generations of cosmic evolution. Our bodies are pages in the galactic story, written in stardust, bound by time. When we build telescopes and aim them at distant galaxies, we are not just looking out, we are looking back. Every photon that reaches us from a galaxy 1 billion light years away has travelled for 1 billion years. It left its home when Earth was young, when life here was simple, when the continents were still drifting into shape. That light carries with it the memory of how things were, and when we capture it, when we study it, we become part of the act of remembering. The universe tells us its story one photon at a time, and we listen and we learn. Galaxies are more than formations of matter. They are expressions of time, motion, and memory. Each one is a living journal, recording the universe's journey from simplicity to complexity, from fire to thought. They're not just out there in the sky. They are within us. Their stories shape our own, and their memory makes our existence possible. As we listen more closely, we begin to hear the rhythms beneath the silence, the turning, the merging, the glowing, the fading. All of it part of a tale that has been unfolding since the first light. And still the galaxies turn slowly, patiently, each one remembering the beginning, even as it creates the future. The galaxies continue to turn even now, and with every revolution they carry forward the whispers of ancient light, of stars long vanished, of collisions long past. Their spirals widen, their cores grow stiller, and the dust settles into new arms. Yet no matter how long they turn, they do not forget. Galaxies are not simply wanderers in space. They are vessels of memory, each one a soft-spoken keeper of cosmic time. As we come to the closing of this story, we see more clearly than ever. Galaxies remember not just where they began, but why they still turn. In the farthest reaches of the observable universe, we see galaxies as they were at the very beginning. Small, irregular, clumpy with new stars, chaotic in form and radiant with the fire of youth. These are the first memories, snapshots of what it was like before structure found its rhythm. Their shapes are rough, their motions wild, yet in them lies the seed of everything. From those first flickering clusters came the spirals and ellipticals we see today. From that chaos, order grew, not perfectly, not quickly, but faithfully. And galaxies, through all their transformations, have carried that first light forward. As galaxies age, they change, they become quieter. Their star formation slows, their gas grows thin, their once blazing arms dim. Yet this quiet is not emptiness, it is maturity, it is remembrance. Older galaxies, though no longer bursting with newborn stars, shine with a deep golden glow, a light from stars that have endured for billions of years. These galaxies are filled with stories held in orbits and spectral lines, in dust lanes and elemental abundances. They do not speak loudly, but they speak truthfully. They show us what time does, not in destruction, but in refinement. Even galaxies that no longer form stars still breathe in their own way. Their stars pulse with aging light, their cores quietly rotate, their halos stretch like memories around them. Some carry the remnants of past collisions, rings of stars still echoing from ancient impacts. Others drift alone, having outlived their companions. But all of them hold their shape, their gravity, their quiet command of space, and in this stillness they continue to remember, not as a burden, but as a presence. Time does not erase them, it settles into them, becoming part of their light. We, looking from Earth, are part of this memory too. Our galaxy is still active, still forming stars, still spinning with vibrant energy, but it also holds a deep past. Fossil stars, ancient clusters, lingering signatures of the galaxies it has absorbed. It carries a timeline longer than our species, longer than our planet, longer than any calendar can measure. The Milky Way is not only our home, it is our origin, and its memory lives in us, in every cell formed by stardust, in every glance upward that seeks understanding. When two galaxies merge, they do not lose themselves. They become something new, brighter, fuller, shaped by the weight of their encounter. The stars themselves do not collide, for the spaces between are vast, but their orbits shift, their paths adjust, and the overall structure reshapes. From spirals may come ellipticals, from chaos may come calm, and in the centre, often, the black holes merge too, releasing ripples in space-time that echo across the universe. These events are dramatic, yes, but they are not violent in the way we might imagine. They are graceful in their slowness, in their cosmic patience. They are the universe remembering its own creation. And perhaps the galaxies also remember what lies ahead. Not in the way humans remember, not with thought, but with motion, with inertia, with the ongoing pull of gravity, the spread of dark energy, the cooling of cosmic background radiation. Galaxies are being carried outward by the expansion of space itself, drifting further from one another as time stretches. One day, many billions of years from now, the night sky may grow empty. Distant galaxies may slip beyond the cosmic horizon, their light stretched into invisibility by the acceleration of space, but they will still be there, turning, remembering, even if we can no longer see them. In this future silence, our own galaxy may still glow. By then, it will have merged with Andromeda, becoming a new kind of galaxy, perhaps rounder, perhaps slower, perhaps wiser. The stars of both systems will mingle, new stars may form, old ones will fade, and somewhere within that great galactic body there may still be life, still be thought, still be wonder, and even if life does not remain, the memory will, encoded in the stars, in the metals they contain, in the orbits they trace, in the quiet breath of gravity that keeps them turning. To stand on Earth and look at a galaxy is to be granted a glimpse of this vast memory, not just in space but in time. We are not apart from it. We are made of it, The calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our breath, all came from the stars, from the explosions and gatherings that galaxies remember. We are not merely observers of galactic history, we are part of it. And as we live and dream and ask questions, we continue that story. We give it new voice. Galaxies do not forget. They hold time in their spin, in their shape, in their sequence. They hold it in the way their stars form and fade, in the way their gas flows, in the way their black holes pulse at the core. They hold it in every spiral arm, every glowing cluster, every dust-veiled core. Their memory is vast but not unreachable. We touch it every time we look up, every time we wonder, every time we listen. And so we end not with a conclusion, but with a recognition that the cosmos is not only made of matter and motion, but of memory. That galaxies are not just places, but processes. That the universe, vast as it is, carries within it the softest kind of remembering, gentle, luminous, slow. Galaxies remember the beginning, and in their light we remember too.